It is Figgie and the Moose right here on Pix 11 Plus. Marc Malusis, Nelson Figueroa with you. Figgie, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. Good morning. I feel a little cheated that there was no baseball after, some winning baseball this weekend. And of course, now we got to wait and see if it can continue starting tonight.
Yeah, the Mets begin a series against the Nats. The Yankees are at their spring training home down in Tampa to take on the Rays after winning 5 of the last 6. The Mets win a series against the Seattle Mariners, including that Little League Classic, which we touched upon yesterday. Still no word. I haven't seen it on Francisco Alvarez and that thumb as of yet, correct?
Yeah, correct. Haven't seen anything as of yet.
Yeah, so hopefully, I mean, you feel bad for the young man because he got sent down, got demoted, wasn't particularly good, wasn't good behind the plate, wasn't good offensively, and came back, readjusted swing, which we hit upon yesterday a little bit, and has been really good in the bottom third of that lineup for Carlos Mendoza and the New York Mets. So we'll see exactly, because we saw what Luis Torrens, the limitations about what he is offensively when he got a little bit more extended playing time. So we'll see exactly what the health update is. There was concern from Carlos Mendoza Sunday night out at Williamsport, but still no clarification as of yet for the New York Mets. And, that division's within striking distance. It really is. But not a lot of baseball to get into because both teams obviously didn't play. So it's kind of like hold your breath and get ready for a series. So let's get into a couple other things here on this Tuesday edition of Figgie and the Moose. Let's start a little bit about what we saw on Saturday night, Jets-Giants in the preseason affair. They annually meet, and Dart looked really good. Giants looked really good. You saw, Abdul Carter get depleted and then take to social media afterward, which generated some headlines. Justin Fields did not look pretty good. Take it wherever you want to go, Figgie, in terms of your biggest talking point coming out of the game Saturday night.
I think my biggest talking point is, no surprise about the Giants defense and what they're going to be able to do and the ineptitude of Justin Fields, up and down. But actually, Jackson Dart, how well he played yet again. You're talking about a guy who masterful out there, very poised, was able to stay in the pocket, was able to escape some, times when he was rushed and get out of the pocket, make throws, make sharp, quick throws, decisive throws, all the things that we used to say, if only Daniel Jones could do this, if only Daniel Jones could do that. And then you realize, maybe this kid does have something, and if you look at his numbers, you combine his 2 preseason games worth of playing, and if you assume that's a whole game, he's almost thrown for 300 yards, no picks, 2 touchdowns, and just looked really, really poised out there. And I think, to credit to Brian Dable for what he saw in Jackson Dart with making him the selection and training up to get him, that he is not disappointed yet. So I think my biggest takeaway from Saturday night is definitely got to be, the Giants defense was as expected. They made Fields look uncomfortable. Fields made Fields look uncomfortable. He just, some of the ineptitude of his throws, he's going to use his legs, it seems like, more than his arm. At best. The offense for the Jets did not look very good. The defense for the Giants, of course, really looks like it's going to be something special. It's going to be something that people will talk about and give them a chance to stay in games. Now, when you go to the other side of the ball, the most important person is the quarterback, right? And so Russell Wilson is undoubtedly the starter to start this season, but Jackson Dart is absolutely pushing expectations have been high for him, but it was kind of a learning year. And he's gone out there and done so well. I'm talking, he was, 14 for 16 against the Jets, was able to move the ball up and down, looked very comfortable, made quick, decisive throws, scrambled when he had to, get out of the pocket, showed he can use his legs to get, keep the chains moving. That's one of the biggest things is when you're a rookie quarterback or you're any quarterback and you're trying to establish yourself, the third down situations. How do I get the ball across? If my first read is not there, what else can I do? Am I going to just have to find a way to toss it up a la Zach Wilson? Or am I going to be able to use my legs, get out of the pocket, and fight for that extra yard to get the first down, keep the chains moving? So he threw for 2 touchdowns so far. You combine his numbers from his 2 preseason games, and you're looking at 291 yards, 75% completion rate. I mean, that's pretty dang good. And when you talk about 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and rushing touchdown as well. So he's doing everything you would want from your first round pick, and that they traded up to get. And Daboll looks like he has himself someone he's molding quite nicely, and we're starting to see the shape. This is not abstract anymore. You're actually starting to see the work of art in front of you.
Yeah, you are, no question. And so I think, there is hope, there is optimism, from the Giant fan base, but I think within the Giant organization as well, that they got the pick right in Jackson Dart. I think everything you've seen in the preseason has kind of just, pushed that hope or emphasized it, Figgy, a little bit more because of how good he has looked. And we talked a little bit about it last night on Sports Nation Nightly, the timing of when he gets an opportunity to go out there and play. And listen, I don't know, I asked the question, I was out there last week, no one's going to answer that question.
No.
No one's going to give you the real answer. I think it's dependent on how the season goes, how Russell Wilson's playing, all factors that you can't really go out and predetermine. But the Giants, when they drafted Dart, felt like he needed a little bit of time for guidance, tutelage, not necessarily experience, but developing before they threw him into the NFL. But give the Giants credit. They're running some offensive sets he used to run at Ole Miss. They're getting him used to the speed. But let's be honest, there's a difference between preseason football and regular season football. So there have been guys that have looked really good. I don't know, look really, really good in preseason, and all of a sudden you get to the regular season and it's a little bit of a learning curve. But the hope is real, the talent is real, the confidence that Jackson Dart has, all of that is real.
The shades that he wore made that confidence very, very real.
No question about it. Not many people. I couldn't pull those off. I tried one night on Sports Nation Nightly. I couldn't pull that off. There's not many guys that can go out there and pull that off and feel confident wearing those sunglasses, Figgy. And the world is his oyster right now. He's he's 6'2", whatever he is, 6'2", 6'3", blonde-haired, blue-eyed quarterback that's of the New York Giants, good-looking kid the world is his oyster, that every Giant fan now looks at him as a sign of a massive turnaround for this organization, a sign of winning days. So, there's nothing that isn't good. Every day is
nothing not to like.
Every day is a great day if you're Jackson Dart. So I agree with you. I think the defense is going to be great. I don't listen. Abdul Carter got depleted, took to social media. Should he do that? No, but it's a learning experience. He's still going to be great. He really is when we get to the National Football League, and I think he's going to be a dominant edge rusher. The comparisons people are bringing up in terms of Micah Parsons, he's going to be better than him coming out of Penn State. Like, let's ease back. Like, there was time where
pump the brakes.
Yeah, pump the brakes. There was also time like 2 years ago where people were calling Micah Parsons the next Lawrence Taylor. I mean, he's not. But and then all of a sudden you don't appreciate what he is. Like, let him be him down in Dallas and let Abdul Carter be who he's going to be with the Giants.
Yeah, you go through with Abdul Carter, and it started simply with the number, right? He wanted the number, and now beyond the number, it's like you start to see the skill set. Yeah, there's a reason why he was the third pick overall, because he has a tremendous skill set. He's big, he's fast, he's strong, he's cocky, he's confident. Hence the social media post. And listen, Micah Parsons was a rookie, and he had a podcast going every week after games. That's not normal. That's not how I was raised. I don't know too many guys who, in between the lines, are doing interviews and talking about other teams and talking about football, while they're a rookie. And it was a highly watched, highly subscribed to podcast. So this new breed of athlete, where they're able to do both things with the social media and perform on the field. Well, you better perform on the field, because you're opening yourself up to the world of criticism, of focus on football, even a weekly basis. You know how football is. Football is, you got a chance to, this team's going to the Super Bowl, or this team is the worst team I've ever seen, every week. And so when you play and you don't perform well, maybe he was, too busy with his podcast. He was too busy, wherever he was, social media, posting in all the places he had been. That's the kind of thing that gets people into trouble. So Abdul Carter looks like he's a guy who likes to get out there. And they asked the other players about him. and they tell you, everybody says, he's special, but they don't go over the top. Dexter Lawrence, just gave you a look like, wait and see, let's see what he is. It's preseason, and the same way we say about Jackson Dart, it's preseason. Everybody looks really good preseason because you're not getting necessarily the one team. You're not necessarily getting all the looks. You're not getting the decoys, the scheme changes. You're not getting the shifts in the line. You're not getting a lot of that stuff. You're getting some things that they're trying out there, some basic sets that everybody can be on the same page about. But, for Abdul Carter, hey, it happens. It's not the first time. It's not going to be the last time that you get chip blocked by a tight end who's just as big and as strong as you, and you're off balance, and then try to get up and somebody else pins you down. I mean, take it like a man. It didn't happen. Didn't lose the play. It wasn't a touchdown scored or somebody ran over you. It wasn't Bo Jackson running over Brian Bosworth, in other words. Now that was a moment.
Yeah, that was right. Correct. And leverage is king. As far as the Jets are concerned, listen, Fields isn't good. I think the Jets have got it right with the head coach and Glenn. I like what I've seen so far with him, the intensity that he has on the sideline, and how he answers questions. Very Bill Parcells like Figgy, but
yeah.
I'm not a Fields guy, but regular season football decided. Maybe he'll, preseason doesn't look particularly good. I think the Jets now are looking at him being like, oh my God, like he can't throw the ball. Like there's issues from what you've seen here so far in the preseason. Yeah, I mean, there are those concerns about what he was and what he has been with Pittsburgh, what he was with Chicago, now what he's going to be with the New York Jets. Jets felt like they could turn him around as a coaching staff and get the best out of Justin Fields. Well, that will be determined during the course of the regular season. But the returns on him in this offense in the preseason, just as glowing as it is for Dart, the big bomb from Russell Wilson Saturday night, this giant offense to extent, they need to get Andrew Thomas back at left tackle. You look at the Jets and you say, well, I think the offensive line is going to be pretty good. I think they can run it. You're going to be able to throw it. I don't know if they necessarily have the quarterback that can go out there and throw it consistently.
Yeah, they're going to have to develop plays and ways for him to either get rid of the ball quick, one read, get it in the hands of a playmaker and see what they can do with it to continue to move the chains, use his legs. But we know there's a three-headed monster at running back, with the main being, of course, Breece Hall. And we haven't seen a complete season from Breece Hall as of yet. His rookie season was phenomenal. He was, setting up to have a very memorable rookie season until he got hurt. Year two, he came back and it was slow. Remember, oh my God, what was the running back that they got from Minnesota? Dalvin Cook.
Oh, Dalvin Cook, yes.
Dalvin Cook, who was supposed to be a weapon for them, and then be able to ease Breece in. And then we were like, wait a minute, Breece, every time Breece touches the ball, he's a threat. Dalvin Cook just never looked like he belonged in football anymore, just how quickly he fell off. But for Breece Hall, it was a matter of that bounce back second year, proving that he was healthy and being able to, withstand a full season of abuse. And now, this is the time. He wants to get paid. He wants to establish himself. He still is a very talented running back. I think people forget that. They think, with all the mess of a offensive line through the 2 years since his rookie season that they've had, all the 14, I think it was 14 different offensive linemen. That doesn't make it very easy to run through holes and feel very comfortable every time your number is called. So I look for him to have a big season, but also he's going to be part of a mix. It's going to be like Detroit. Detroit had, two outstanding running backs that could go out there. It was the ground and pound. There's, guys that can catch out the backfield. He's going to have to be doing a little bit more of that, catching out of the backfield. I think he's talented enough to do as well. So great for a PPR fantasy football league. A little tip from your Uncle Nelson. Because Justin Fields isn't going to be going downfield very often. You're going to look at the short dump offs maybe to stay out of getting sacked and losing yards. I think Breece Hall is going to have an opportunity to do some really good things with catching the football this year. So I think that's the way they're going to set up. That offense is going to have to be ground and pound and getting those three guys involved as much as possible. And, hopefully that Garrett Wilson can take that next step. He got the unbelievable payday. He's being paid like a top 5 wide receiver. Now he's got to play like a top 5 wide receiver.
Yeah, and we'll see if he can go out there and do it. So that's the Jets and the Giants right now, and concerns for Fields real. The optimism for Dart, obviously real as well. We'll come back and we'll talk a little baseball. Not Mets, Yankees, but some interesting comments from the MLB commissioner Sunday night, Rob Manfred, about the potential future of Major League Baseball. We'll get into that. It's Figgie and the Moose on this Tuesday right here on Pix 11 Plus. Welcome back. It's Figgie and the Moose right here on Pix 11 Plus. Marc, Malusis, Nelson, Figueroa with you. So we did the football variety, Figgie, as I belched a little bit. Excuse me. I apologize. Let's talk a little bit.
God bless you. God bless
you. Thank you. You'll say it here. You'll say it. Well, I didn't sneeze, but you'll say it then. I got you. Thank you. That's the difference between digital and linear TV. So there we go. All right, Figgie. Let's talk a little bit about what Rob Manfred had to say, the MLB commissioner. You know, I'm not a huge fan of some of the things that he's done, some of the things that he's done, some of the things that he said over the course of time. You know, interesting conversation out in Williamsport Little League Classic about expansion, you know, adding 2 more teams that he hopes that, you know, when his run is over in 2029, that there's 2 more teams and that there's realignment in Major League Baseball to where for us here in New York, you'll get more Mets Yankees instead of now 6 times a year. The Mets and Yankees, conceivably, if you go with there's 2 different models, right? If you expand to 2 teams, it could be 4. It could be 8 divisions of 4 teams, or it could be 4 divisions of 8 teams. So there's different ways you can go about doing it. But the Yankees and the Mets, in essence, would be in the same division, and you'd obviously get more of Mets Yankees during the course of the regular season. Get rid of the American League and National League. There's really no separation between the 2 now, obviously, with the DH being universal. So, you know, kind of that feeling and different style of baseball, that is long gone. What's your take on what the commissioner had to say and comments about potentially the future if it happens in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, this is one of those situations that's been kind of happening for a while. I think when you look at interleague play, the idea was, you know, you wanted to play your division, your town rivals or your regional rivals, and you know, drum up some more interest that way. And then that started to turn into, well, you really want to see, you know, the Yankees out west more, you know, to different cities that they don't, you know, normally go to. So to continue to raise interest in baseball by bringing some of the major market teams into the smaller markets, you know, hopefully show those teams and the owners, hey, look at that. There's a lot of fans that come when you have a good product, you know? And so I think the idea was to continue to try and push the envelope with the travel. And now all of a sudden travel's too much, you know, traveling by private charter, you know, 5 hours at max going cross country is too much. You know, the off day that happens usually after that coast to coast trip, it's just too much. So what we need is more regional games. And when you look at the way that it could possibly be split up, I mean, it doesn't, I'm trying to figure out exactly who benefits more from it. You look at the way that the regions are set up right now, it would be Boston, New York, Philly, and the Yankees, right? Mets, Yankees, Phillies, and Boston. So those 4 teams. Well, those 4 teams are highly competitive. Those 4 teams have money. Those 4 teams are looking with championship aspirations, right? So that's going to be a very competitive division if it's that. Then you move down and you've got Pirates, Orioles, Washington, and Cleveland. Well, 4 of those teams are kind of in flux of what they really want to do. The Pirates are always the Pirates. The Nationals have a good crop of young players that they've gotten based off trades and things that they have done that, you know, they're a pesky team right now. And they've proved to be a thorn in the side of a lot of teams in the National League East. The Orioles, at one point, we thought were ready to take over the division 2 years ago, and that has fallen flat. Cleveland, of course, they seem to always find a way to play like Tampa Bay. They're always in it somehow, even though they trade away all their superstars. So it's an interesting setup. I mean, all I know is that if I'm seeing Mets Yankees 19 times a year, it's going to feel like too much. But is it? I mean, if you're a steak and potatoes guy and you have steak and potatoes 19 times a month, are you complaining?
Heart attack.
But are you complaining? Are you really complaining if you're going to see those 2 teams play?
My arteries would, yeah.
Yeah. seeing good quality baseball, and real bragging rights. Not like remember we were talking yesterday in the hallway. 2-2, the 2-2 series. They just annoys me. It's just you
Oh
can't.
no, I don't think. Yeah, the 4 games was too little, and they got back to 6. I think it diminishes it a little bit of it. Like I don't know. I gotta be honest with you. I think it's probably the Yankees' worst nightmare. Like I don't think Hal Steinbrenner. You think he wants to be in the same division as Steve Cohen and have the pressure?
Or the Phillies or Boston,
Right,
and honestly, or Phillies.
right. No. Well, Boston's another one thing. I mean, they deal with Philadelphia, but I'm just talking about from a business model perspective.
Right.
Like, you think okay, so you want to think about the positives of it. The positives would be like, oh, well, you've got the Mets and the Yankees going mano a mano. You're going to get it more. It's going to add to it. It might take a little while to adjust to it. I'm more of an old school guy. Talked about last night. I don't necessarily love it. If it happens, it happens. I mean, I can't stop it or prevent it from happening. I think it would. I think it would hurt the overall interest in it. I mean, those are 6 sellout dates each and every year. You go and make it 18, 19 games a year. Is it going to have the same buzz, the same interest? No, but I mean, I think over the course of time, I think it depends on how the race goes. Like, if you've got something to play for, just add something. This is kind of just like for pride a little bit, and for the fans to get into it. Now, all of a sudden, you're competing for a division. But, to the point before, you think Hal Steinbrenner wants to be in the same division as the richest singular owner in all of Major League Baseball? That's ticked off and angry, doesn't necessarily care about money that's worth like $22-23 billion individually, and is trying to win championships for the fans. When the Yankees look at themselves as a business model, you think Hal Steinbrenner wants to be in the division with that guy? I mean, I don't. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't necessarily think so.
No, without a doubt, that is his worst nightmare. Honestly, that is, and there's one thing when you are that wealthy, is to say and look to your right and go, I don't have that kind of money though. I can't compete with that. Like, but here's the other part of this. Remember, I told you this is a whole kind of the methodical movement towards it. The other side of this is talking about a salary cap. Because you got to make a competitive balance, right? You got to find a way for everyone to have an opportunity, everyone a chance to compete. So they're going to be a salary cap is what they're going to try to do. Well, that's where
it's all right. But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, unless the Players Association has lost all of its power, and at one point in time, Figgie, the MLBPA was the strongest Players Association in all of professional sports, right?
It was strong. It was strongest union in the world. Right. I mean, honestly,
if you look, unless they've lost it all, like, I have a hard time thinking, what are the owners going to give the players for them to install a salary cap? Like, I mean, like, so would that fix the competitive balance issue? Yeah, to an extent it would. You'd still need owners in these smaller markets to go out there and spend. If you're going to put a cap in, there's got to be a floor. If you're getting money from these major market teams, you got to go out there and spend it. So there's but I mean, the Players Association, like you cannot give in like at that point and say, we're going to now limit what we potentially could go out there and make, or have someone else decide what the cap is going to be year in and year out. If you're a major league, if you're part of that Players Association, unless they just don't have the pull they once did.
I mean, honestly, like you look at this and you look at there isn't an opportunity for parity when you look at still teams like the Rockies, still a team like the White Sox, the Pirates. Even though they have some talented players, the organization just doesn't do well with that. They wind up trading those players away and getting more, players that are under that are going to be under contract. That's the biggest thing for the Pirates is how long can we have this player in our uniform under contract? That's it. They don't care about anything else. It's an interesting element of if they have a salary cap, and we heard what happened when Bryce Harper heard that term out of Manfred's mouth when he went around talking to the players. He lost it, told them get out in some other fashionably terms I can't say here, but kicked them out of the clubhouse, said don't even bother if that's where you're going with this, because the union has always been built on free market and an opportunity for these guys to get the free agency. I think with baseball, and what we've seen is baseball's gotten a lot younger. The guys are getting called up in their teens. That's not something like crazy anymore, where we're like, oh my God, it's a 19-year-old playing. No, he got drafted out of high school at 16. He's played pro sports for 3 years, and now he's in the big leagues because these are the prime years. That's what teams want to pay for. Plus, he had a $2 million, $3 million signing bonus to boot. So they want to get back value for what they paid for. That's the business model to it. Then you look at what happens when players get to free agency. We are now talking about a 30-year-old player. A 30-year-old player, if he gets to free agency for the first time, as over the hill, washed up, only going to be declining. And teams are like, well, I'm not paying for a declining product. Why would I do that? So you're running into a situation now. What is exactly going to be able to be fought for in a way and leverage for the players? Because the realignment is going to happen whether you like it or not. It's just going to be what exactly is the get for the teams. And if you say I'm going to realign and take away your opportunity to get paid by all these teams, whatever the max dollar could be right now, and put a salary cap, then there's going to be a really big issue with that. And Manfred's done a lot of crazy things. That would be the craziest thing, is to run this thing into the ground the way he is.
Well, true, and I often joke around whether or not the commissioner really likes the sport that he's the commissioner of, right? And whether he enjoys, and some of the stuff he's done has worked out and been really good, right? So I don't want to be hypercritical when you're looking at the MLB commissioner, but Figgy, like there's a real problem. Like enjoy like the next 40 plus games in the regular season when we get to October and the MLB playoffs, and enjoy next season, because there could potentially be that we do not see baseball in 2027. Like, I don't want to depress everybody, but that's real. I mean, that's not fictitious. That is real, to where we have a lost season.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the CBA. When that CBA comes up, it's no different than free agency and what we've seen from players, right? We see players sitting out longer and longer and longer. And, you're like, what are you going to do? You're going to sit out in the prime of your career. You're a free agent now and just wait it out. I mean, it becomes almost where the teams are, and the word is collusion that people will use. They're all on. For me, they're all on the same page. They all have the same data. They all see the same thing. So it's not one team sees it a different way. It's not the money ball. We understand the game because we're looking at different numbers. No, they all have the same numbers. They just look at what they value and what they place a value on, right? So if you look at it that way for baseball, and you're talking about the next CBA, the players union got killed in this last CBA, and the players were not happy about it. They were not happy about it whatsoever. And so this next one coming up is a make or break one. And if you're talking about realignment, you're talking about salary caps, you're talking about all these things like that. I mean, I don't think anybody likes the idea of work stoppage. So they're constantly trying to, talk about things and move things along a little bit at a time, introducing some things, making phone calls. And this happens all year long. So by the time we see what happens in the media, this thing is a full-blown steamroller. And that's where it becomes really difficult to wonder if you're going to get baseball past 2027 without a work stoppage.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, that puts us this bow on it. At least baseball returns tonight. Yankees taking on the Rays in Tampa, Mets and Nats, so down in our nation's capital. So both teams on the road. It's great to have a little baseball back later on tonight to react to tomorrow. Hopefully everyone out there has themselves a wonderful Tuesday. Make sure to check us out 7 p.m. tonight, Sports Nation Nightly on Pix 11 for Nelson Figueroa, who's about to go work on his drive and his fade and his approach shot. Exactly. That's it. He's a golfing legend in the Pix 11 sports department. There's no doubt. No, and he does tremendous work as well. He's Nelson Figueroa. I'm Marc Malusis. I'm about to go make my kids breakfast. Have yourself a wonderful Tuesday, everybody. This has been Figgie the Moose on Pix 11 Plus.